Second Life Lessons with Sarah Dalrymple. Lesson 3, Creating in Second Life. Hello everyone, this is Sarah. We are back with our next lesson on Second Life, which is how to create in Second Life. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find a place where you can build. If you are not already owning or renting land, the best and easiest way to do that is to find a sandbox. So you are going to pull up your search tab, choose places, and in the search term, you're going to put the word sandbox. Okay, so there's plenty of them here to choose from. Just pick one. Most of them are going to have a return time. So after your items have been there for 4 hours, they're going to be returned to you. So we're going to go to Backdrop City. And here we are in Backdrop City. And you're just going to uh, pick a corner and start building things. So, firstly, you need to know that there are three types of ways that you can build in Second Life. One is with what we call primitives. They are mesh, but they are very limited on how you can change them. Then you have sculpts, which are prefabricated mesh that use a texture layer to tell the mesh how to be shaped. And the third one is what we call mesh. It's advanced mesh that you create using programs such as Blender. Um, that's the three main ways of creating in Second Life. If you decide that building is not for you, but you still want to create, we will get to that because there are people who sell full per mesh, but that would be getting ahead of ourselves. So, with primitives, what you do is you click on the ground, you right click, you'll have a window pop up, you'll choose Build. Inside that menu, you will see these different shapes. All of these are different shapes that you can just create. They instantly appear in Second Life. So we're going to start with the most basic one, which is your cube. Okay, this right here is your cube. It comes pre-patterned with plywood as the texture. Everything in every video game is made from two things: shape plus texture. And texture is the picture, or if you're using a website or a program that has physics-based reflections, materials. Okay, so we're just going to call this the test box. Test box. Okay, and there's a lot of different things that you can do with just this box. You can give it different sizes by going to this menu with the little arrow that points to a square. This is your edit menu for any object. And you can move it around using these arrows. If you hold down Shift and Control, you can resize your box in a multitude of directions. You can also rotate your box by just holding down the Control key. So you can rotate it on the blue axis, the red axis, the green axis, or you can free rotate by just clicking on the circle and just freely rotate it around. Okay? So you have your shape, and you want to take this box. And the most simplest thing to make with a box is going to be a table. Okay? So let me fix my points of access here. We want that side up. Make that face true north. Make sure that this one is pointing directly up. So first thing you want to do is decide how big your table is going to be. Everything in Second Life is measured in meters. So you're going to hold down Control Shift, and first you need to decide how tall this table is going to be. And you'll see that there are measuring guides. So that's half a meter tall, that's 1 meter tall. 1 meter is a little too tall, half a meter is a little too short, so you want to just kind of eyeball it to about halfway. And then you need to decide how wide your table is going to be. Is it a one-person table? Is it going to be a two-person table? Maybe a desk? Maybe you'd like a desk that's about 1.5 meters long. And then you're going to make it wide enough that you can fit your legs under that table. So I'm going to make a desk table, as you can see here. Okay? Now, doesn't look much like a table yet, does it? You're going to click the Object tab. First thing we'll do is hollow out this table. And of course, I got my sides all wrong. And then you can do a path cut. We're going to turn our table so that it's facing the right way. And then just make adjustments to the sizing as we need. And now you have a pretty basic table shape. But it still doesn't quite look like a table, does it? And that has to do with the texture. So next you're going to go to texture. And first we're going to work on the legs. So you're going to hit select face, choose your outsides where your legs are. You click on that texture right there. And if you go to your library, you will actually have some free textures here. And you can find more free textures all over Second Life. So we need to decide what kind of sides we want on this table. I like wood. It's pretty, it's nice. We have some Brazilian rosewood right here. And if you want everything to have the same texture, you do not have to select face. You can actually just go to move, click, look. The most basic table in Second Life. You follow those steps, you will have yourself a table. It's not going to do anything, but just be there for decoration. So that is how you work with basic mesh. And I suggest if you're not familiar with programs such as Blender, start by just messing with stuff in the build menu. Create different shapes of textures. Practice reshaping them, hollowing them out. Spend time on this. Okay? Alright, so that is our basic table. For sculpts, we're not going to touch sculpts. Most people these days do not use sculpts. They use advanced mesh like you build in Blender. You say, but Sarah, I don't like to use Blender. That's okay. You still want to make stuff? There are people who create full perm mesh. So we are going to switch over to my main avatar and I'll show you some full perm mesh and how to work with it. Okay, and now we are back with my primary avatar. We are in my building platform and I am going to show you how to use full perm mesh. Full perm mesh is mesh that is created in Blender by other creators. They pay to bring it into Second Life and then they will sell it so that other people can create their own things using their mesh. If you decide to use full perm mesh, please do not just give these away full perm to other people. I will be going over how to make that mesh into something of your own creation, how to set it up so that Second Life sees that you are the creator of it, and how to make it so that you will be able to sell it without just giving it away full perm to everybody else. So the first thing is I have rezzed out some shoes. I've literally just dragged them out of my inventory like this, and then they appear in Second Life. So you will also usually get what is called an AO map. And this has all your little shadows and things for your shoes. You will want to save this to your computer. Make sure you save as, give it a name if that helps, and then you are going to open up an art program. By art program, I mean something like Photoshop. If you can't afford Photoshop, there's free options such as GIMP and Krita. I use Krita because it's easier for me to understand, but I will put the links for both GIMP and Krita down in the description so that you can check them both out. You can look for other free software if you wish. So next we're going to be going into Krita. And here we are in Krita. We have uploaded our AO map for the shoes. So there's multiple ways you can go about this. If you are already familiar with digital art programs such as Photoshop, this next section will not be difficult for you at all. For the rest of you, this does take some trial and error. So the first thing you want to do, you do not want to paint directly on your background. You want to go over here where you have got your layers. You want to add a layer, and I suggest putting that layer at somewhere between 80 and 90% opacity. And the reason for that is if you make it 100% opacity, you will not get the underlying shadows that are baked into this map. If you go less than 80% opacity, your shadows will be too strong and people will not be able to see what you design onto your mesh. So you can either pick a brush, or if you already have a design in mind, you can use a predefined map. And to do that, first you are going to choose pixel painting, which is basically painting within a set number of pixels. Choose predefined, pick the style that you want. Make sure it's color image and choose your size. I usually do either a 64 or 128 size pixel so that people can actually really get a good view of the design. And my designs are square, so I literally just stamp them out one at a time. If you'd rather draw, that's perfectly normal too, or perfectly fine. Just choose the type of brush that you want, and Cricut comes with lots of brush options. Just gonna go with the smooth bristle here. Okay, and then we're going to choose our color. We're going to go with a nice dark blue to start with, and we're just going to paint onto our shoes. Okay, So we'll throw in some wild blue and some teal and just get it all nice and covered up. Now let's throw in a little green down here. These are going to be some very ugly shoes. I will not apologize for it. And fill in the rest with some yellow. Okay? When you're happy with the artwork that you have put onto your AO map, you choose export and name your map. Make sure you save it as a PNG. Okay? And then, let's see, Sarah Lesson shoe. And then you're going to save it. And then you go back to Second Life. And we are back in Second Life, and here's my shoes. I'm going to right click on them and choose Edit. Then you're going to make sure you are on the Texture tab. Click the white box above Diffuse. Instead of choosing from Inventory, you're going to choose on Local. Okay, then you will click Add, and this will pull up any textures or any folders that you may have your picture saved. You want to, of course, go through find the right picture. For this one, we're doing Sarah Lesson shoe. We're going to, it will add it to a list here. You click on the shoe or the texture that you want. And what this does is this makes it so that only you can see the texture. You're not paying any upload costs when you're doing this. So we're looking at our shoe. We're like, it needs some pink. So we will go back to Krita and add the pink. So back over in Krita, you are going to throw in your changes that you want to make. In this case, I'm adding a bunch of pink to my swirly shoes. Then make sure you go to File, Export, and you are just going to save right over your previous save. It's going to give you a pop-up asking if you want to replace it. Choose yes. And then when you go back into Second Life, you will see that those changes have applied to your shoe. Okay, so now I have some very wild and crazy looking shoes here. I'm happy with it. So what I will do after that is I will choose the Build tab. Go to Upload. You are going to choose Image. It will pop up a little window for you to choose your image. Click on it, choose Open, and you will get another box. It'll tell you the name of the texture that you're uploading. It will give you a preview of it. And then you pay 10 lindens, which is roughly 3 or 4 cents, to upload. You can use other people's textures as well. So if you don't want to make your own textures, but you want to use somebody else's textures, I'll show you how to do that. You'll go into Edit, choose Texture. You're going to switch it from Local to Inventory. When you use a texture that is in your inventory on an item, everybody will be able to see it, not just you. Thankfully, I already have made some textures for these shoes. So that is what we are going to use right now. So give me just a moment here. Okay, so now you've got your mesh. You have a texture on it. you are ready to give this away or sell it to friends. First thing you're going to do though is you have to change this creator. And to do that, you build a box. You're going to go into the edit menu of this box. You're going to make it as small as possible. And you're going to slide it so that it is mostly inside of the mesh that you've been working with. You want a little corner of it sticking out so that you can grab it, and I'm going to show you why. First, left click on your mesh object. Hold down the shift key. Left click your cube. Now, all of these have been selected. You're going to go into your edit menu and choose link. When you link it, the object that was linked last is now the primary object. So it will switch you at, and put you as the creator of this object. Just going to call this test shoes for right now. The only problem you have now is everybody can see that ugly little box. We don't want them to see that box. So you're going to choose edit linked and you're going to click on the box. Go to texture. There will be a section for transparency. Change that to 100. And now that box is invisible. So unless they are specifically looking for that box, they're not going to see the box. And then you can name this object whatever you want, because they are all now collectively known as whatever you name it. And that is the basics for building with full permesh, creating your own primitive objects, and texturizing them in Second Life. I will be putting the links in the description for GIMP, Krita, Blender, as well as where you can get free full perm mesh and free full perm textures in the Second Life marketplace down in the description. Tomorrow we will be discussing land. If you have any suggestions or comments for my Second Life lessons, please put them in the comments. Let me know what you want to learn about Second Life, and I will find a way to teach it to you. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for joining my lesson. Bye.